So these questions are all from paper 4, so you would be allowed a calculator for any of these questions. The first one, we've got y to the power of 18 divided by y to the power of 6 equals y to the power of k. So when you're dividing, you've got to take away the indices. In the same way, if you are timesing, you would add your indices together. So all we need to do for this one is just 18, take away the 6, which is 12. So therefore, this would be y to the power of 12. The next one then, this is the value of a car is given by this formula. Write down the value of the car when it's new. So a couple of different ways you could do this. You can substitute the fact if it's new, then if n is the number of years after it's bought, n would be 0. So you could just type that in on your calculator. You could just do 16,500 times 0.82 to the power of 0. But actually, the more you do of these questions, the more you realise it's actually just that number there is always the initial value. So whichever way you've done it, you should get £16,500. Writing down the annual percentage decrease in the value of the car. So that is looking at the decimal here, which is 0.82. Now 0.82, if we times that by 100, is 82%. So it means it's gone from 100% to 82. So therefore, you just got to think, what's it gone down from to get from 100 to 82, and so that would be 18%. Show that the value of the car after 4 years is less than half its value when new. So if it's after 4 years, n is going to be 4. So putting that into this formula up here, you would do 16,500 times 0.82 to the power of 4. So if we work that out and see what that is, so that is 7,460. So we've got to show that this is less than half its value when new. So when it was new, it was 16,500. So we need to show half of 16,500. That's going to be 8,250. So just really a line to say 7,460 is less than 8,250, and that would be enough. Question 3, we know the total number of students is 121. So basically all these numbers, including the x, should be adding up to 121. So if we add up the numbers that we've got, so 41 plus 18 plus 35, that makes 94. So we need to do 121 minus 94, and that should give you an answer of 27. So x would be 27. Right, part B, just got to be a little bit careful of because of the fact it's given that they study physics. So it says one of the 121 students is selected at random. Find the probability that they study mathematics given that they study physics. So if it's given that they study physics, we know it must be coming out of this circle here, the physics circle, because we know that they definitely study physics. So finding the probability that they study mathematics, so in this circle here, you've got to think how many of them are also in the math circle, which is going to be your value of x here, which we said was 27. So it would be 27 over, and rather than the whole total, because of the fact we know it's coming out of the physics circle, you just want the physics circle total. So it would be 27 plus 18, so that's going to be 45. So it would be 27 over 45. Now just something to point out with that as well, say for example you got part A wrong, but then you use that to do part B here, you will pick up some marks for that as well. So just because you do one part wrong doesn't mean that you're going to get all of it wrong. Okay, next question, we have got a scatter diagram. So they want to basically find out if there's a relationship between the person's age and the time it takes them. Now, Lee is going to ask 12 people. So where it says one criticism, I would say the main one is the fact that 12 people isn't really very many people to kind of carry out the experiment with. So that would be one main criticism, I would say. In class, when I'm doing this with you, I will pause the video and listen to some more of your answers. But I would say the main one is that 12 isn't really enough people. Part B, we've got to plot these results on the scatter diagram. Now it's very easy, but just something to point out with this is that lots of people, when they see this in the exam, just kind of like gloss over this, and then they get to part C and do the question, and then they've missed out here on 2 easy marks because they didn't realise this was a question. So just watch out for this, because this should be easy marks to pick up in the exam. So for the first one, you've got to go across to 47 and up to 21. So 47, well, I go backwards from here, 49, 48, 47, and 21 will be here. And then the other one is 60 and 34. So 60 is here, 30 is up here. So then it's going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. So it should be like that. And then what type of correlation is shown in the scatter diagram? So when it says type, it's only 1 mark. They are just interested in whether it is positive or negative. So when it goes up this way, it is a positive correlation. So obviously if it was going the other way like this, for revision's sake, that would be a negative correlation. The final question then is completing the square. So to get A, you've got to divide this by 2. So 8 divided by 2 is 4, but it's also minus, so it'd be x minus 4 squared. Minus 4 squared, remember when you square something, it's always positive. So minus 4 squared is 16. We've got 25 and it's plus 25. So to get from 16 to 25, I would need to add on 9 on the end.